welcome to Abhishek Banerjee. It's great to have you with me. And I still remember a wonderful chat we had in Delhi when you were here,
Yes,
I
yes,
think a
yes.
few
The hotel room.
months ago, a couple of years ago.
Yes, yes.
Of course, since then you've done even better. And you've
Thank
become like the king of sequels, right? I mean, the king of the franchise in a way, you know?
you. Yeah,
Everything that has a franchise seems to have you. So what's the secret, Abhishek?
well, there's no secret. Actually, I'm very grateful that at least it guarantees me a job for, next few years. So every time the sequel is announced, I'm like, yeah, I don't have to like really worry for few more years or few more months maybe. But that's it. I think that's the only satisfaction I take from that. Because I don't know how the sequels are going to turn out. Because I mean, from this year onwards, I think the first sequel is going to release 3 2, and then hopefully after that Bhedia 2 and then Rana Naidu. Yes, Dream Girl did release and it did well. So yeah, I'm just feeling lucky about it. That
But it's also quite a daunting task, isn't it, Abhishek, to step into the shoes of a character which you've played and perhaps sort of forgotten, maybe add new nuances to it. How does it work? It's like meeting an old pair of shoes, I think.
yeah, but actually it's also very familiar pair of shoes, so you know the right size and the right fit, and
Right.
where all it's going to hurt and how comfortable you can walk in it. So I feel that actually it's easier to step into the characters which you have performed before, because you don't really need to do the past homework which you have done. You know what nuances to like hold on to, and what to probably ignore, and also you know the kind of mistakes you've made in your previous characters while performing them. So I think when you're doing the sequel, when you're doing the second part, it's just that you remember the flaws and you try to correct them. So yeah, it's quite an easy process, honestly. Like even for three, when we started shooting, we basically I don't think we really needed to do a lot of workshops. Wherein in the first part, we actually did a lot of diction coaching, we did a lot of workshop together, chemistry building, and everything. This time we didn't need it. We actually had the chemistry, so we just needed to like go and do the performances, and also improvisations becomes easy. You know your character better, so it just becomes easier. The process is easier. But yes, I mean at the same time uh, very nervous about how the audience is going to approach those characters, and whether they're going to show the same kind of love which probably you got in the first part.
Also, I wonder, are the geographies of all your characters, the sequels remaining the same? Does that play a part? Because in Bhedia, the geography of the film is so overpowering, you know. I mean, it's one of the stars in a way. So
Yeah,
does that make a difference where you're shooting?
it does because like for me, Arunachal Pradesh, I've never been to Arunachal Pradesh. So
Yeah,
once I went there, and I was also playing a guy who comes from MP, Madhya Pradesh,
right.
who has stationed himself in Delhi and is trying his luck out in IAS, the very most difficult exams. And to come out of that kind of a setup and to be in Arunachal Pradesh, to be in the wild, it was also like mystical for me in real life, and also like many moments where you do not when you don't know the space. I feel it's better because you can be in the moment. You don't have any preconceived notion about the place. Like right now I'm dreading the fact that next time when I go to shoot in UP, now I know a lot about UP. I know a lot about UP, choti galiyan, and the people and the kind of dialects. So I don't know what new I can bring, and how do I visualize that same place or the same locale in a different way. But when you're going to a different geography, it's just easier, because you just need to like wake up every day and go to a different location and just feel that location and vibe with that. So I prefer geographies which are unknown to me. That helps me a lot.
Have you played a role recently apart from Bhedia where you've been to something that's truly different for you?
I think for me, Stolen was quite a unique location,
Right.
Pushkar.
Yeah.
Uh, I've heard about Pushkar. I've heard about a lot about like how the kind of cross culture is very prominent in that
Yeah.
society. So I didn't expect anything out of Pushkar, but when I went to the outskirts, when we shot in the like the desert roads and
Yeah.
those rocky roads and everything, it was quite a very different, quite a new experience. And also I realized that how unique our country is.
Yeah.
That every like 100 kilometers, the landscape changes, and also the way people behave, that also changes. And yeah, I mean, and Pushkar, I remember like when once we went to a village and we were shooting this very difficult scene where I was getting mob lynched. There's a mob lynching scene in the
Yeah.
film.
Yeah. That's really so traumatic, Abhishek.
Yeah, and it was as traumatic for the villagers because some of them, especially the older ones, they actually thought it's happening. So they really came to rescue me. They came and they were shouting at my producers and the production that they can't let this happen in their village and stuff like that. And then we had to like really tell them that no, this is
Right.
all acting. I'm okay. There's no blood, and these people are not really hitting me, though some of them were. But yeah, I mean, and it's quite fun. I think every time you go to shoot in India, you understand how innocent our population is.
Yeah. It's so sweet. The kindness of strangers in India is the best thing about India, I think.
Yes,
In the
totally.
most unexpected ways, right?
Yes, yes, and it can turn dark also very soon.
As we
That's
saw in Stolen,
yes, yes. So
that
that's
was a
why
very difficult film to do, right? I mean, of course, nothing that you do is easy, especially after Hathoda Tyagi. But that was a very dark film, Stolen.
yeah, it was. It was also very difficult to shoot, and there was always this confusion about like how we going to do it, like how would we like the way Karan Tejpal had designed his scenes was not difficult. I mean, in the film, it's I think seeming easy now when people are watching it that they think that okay, this is something which they have accomplished, but while shooting we were not very sure because there were many single takes, and while the car is moving or the mob chase is happening and the stones are falling from the hilltops and things like that. And it was quite a dangerous situation. Let me just put it that way. Like while shooting it, but of course, like that's what gave us the motivation. That's how I think the film looks real. And also, as actors, me, Shubham, or Mia, we all were constantly in the moment because we could not believe what was happening and what could actually happen. And I've been in a very similar situation on a highway, not as similar to the film, but
In
something where
in in actual life,
in actual life in Karnataka,
yeah.
where me and my wife we were traveling from Mangalore to I think Goa, and we had a road mission, and the mob really turned ugly towards us because we were outsiders. They saw an
Right,
NH, so
right.
they were really anti outsiders that time, and there was a like huge mob who came and they were trying to like argue with us and everything. But thankfully, a few youngsters they recognized me, and that's how we came out of it. But it was quite a scary situation. And while shooting for Stolen, I was like, yeah, this can definitely happen, without any support and love, and hope you can really fall into deep.
Right. So, Abhishek, it's very interesting. You go from one extreme to the other, very dark and very light as well.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
as an actor, that's your job. But the darkness, I wonder what you have to tap into to. Is it easier to play than the lightness of spirit and soul? There must be days when you feel anything but light and happy. So I guess
I,
it's a mix of both.
I'm usually always very happy while shooting. It's a
Okay.
very happy process. It's a very happy place for me. It's almost meditational. It's like I just recently did some meditation in Dharamkot, so I realized that when I'm acting,
Where
uh,
did you do this?
Tushita Meditation Center. I went there for
Okay.
some time, spent some time there with monks and
Why was
fellow
that important?
just to like explore something new. I've never done it in my life, and my dad used to somehow used to tell me like since my young days that tujhe meditation karna chahiye. You're always very fickle minded, and I used to always lose marks also in my mathematics subjects and other analytical subjects where I used to like forget certain things and not write, and in my head I'm writing those answers, but I was not writing. So he always told me that I needed that. I needed that kind of meditation. I'm also very restless in life. That's why I keep jumping from one extreme to another.
Mhm.
So yeah, I tried that, and it really helped me. And also it made me feel the same way I would feel while acting in front of camera. So yeah, what was the question? I completely forgot now.
No, I'm actually quite interested in this idea as well. Was it Vipassana or was it some other form of meditation?
It was not Vipassana. It was basically something to do with the breathing technique and
Okay.
analytical meditation, where our teacher was guiding us through different stages of meditation and trying to help us focus on one center, which is easily as easy said than done. But it was quite a, how do you put it? Like the first day of meditation was quite intense. I got very emotional, and it was almost close to being in a vipassana situation because I was not really in the mood to talk to anybody, and I was liking the silence, which is so unlike me because I'm a very talkative human being otherwise. So yeah, it really helped. I
What is
sometimes
it?
feel that it helps you align with yourself,
Right.
especially in cities, especially in an industry like this. You sometimes need to go out of it and realign yourself. So yeah,
Sorry, I missed the name. What was the name?
Tushita Meditation Center. It's in
Where is
Dharamkot.
this? Okay.
Dharamkot. Yeah, it's
Oh,
above Metro.
interesting. So, it's like some actors go to workshops, some meditation centers. I mean, you need something to refresh yourself as well, right?
Totally. And I feel that because we get into a habit of, this is a hustle culture right now.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. Like, we're always hustling, we're always trying to find work. And everybody around me tells me that, you need to constantly work. But I'm like, if you're constantly working, then when are you thinking? Because you're definitely not thinking when you're like, going out for your jobs, and when you're going out for your outdoors, shooting in this heat, you're not really thinking. You're doing whatever comes your way. So I feel sometimes you need to detach from the entire process, and then realign your mind, realign your body, your thoughts, and then perform a character. The question you asked was the dark, like how do I approach those dark roles?
Yeah.
I think Devashish Makhija, he's the main culprit. uh,
Oh, yes.
he, he is definitely the main culprit in my life, who somehow made me do those short films, Ugly Bar, and then a role in Bhosle, a small role in Bhosle, and then I did Ajji. I think
Oof.
Ajji really made me. It still makes me cringe every time I think about the character. Every time I think about the film. I never. That's one film which I never tell my friends, especially female friends, to watch. I always tell them, "Bhai, mat dekho yaar, koi baat nahi." Like, there's no. I don't want to, feel anything good about that film. That's how horrible that experience was. It was terrifying. It was like, we were shooting in areas where I don't think anybody would go and shoot. The way Dave sees it, he really wants to get into the skin of his world. He will tap into that world, and he'll make you, how do you put it, a soldier of his vision. And that process has really made me feel, um, you know, after Ajji, for me, any character which I attempt, especially when it's dark, it becomes easy for me because that's how difficult Dhawale was. So yes, I mean the dark characters comes, they are easy to perform, and the lighter ones are more difficult because you really need to like be funny all the time, and you sometimes you don't feel funny, sometimes you're
Yeah.
not feeling up to the mark, but you have to make people laugh. So yeah, I think making people laugh is a much more difficult art form.
Abhishek, we've talked about the inner world of the actor to a certain extent. What about the outer world? I mean, acting is also artifice. So there is also the superficialness to it, which is important to maintain, right? A certain look, a red carpet appearance, all that. How important is that for anyone who wants to do well in the industry and who achieves a certain stature? Then the struggle is to keep that stature and perhaps do better, you know?
Yeah, it's a part of your job, I feel. Um, Not that no, I don't think everyone loves it, but they have to do it because it's a part of the job. And especially me, I'm very shy otherwise. I don't even like to go for weddings. Even my relatives, if they call me for weddings or any kind of social gathering, I'm always finding excuses to not go. So for me to, go
What
for these events
terrifies
and
you about weddings?
uh, everything. Everything from meeting like old relatives who you have not met since many years, and the same question pehchana and bachpan mein ye tha wo tha, and you don't have any clue about who those people are, and you have to still behave or act. See, that's the problem, that as an actor you always want to be honest and true, but in the social gatherings, you're not really true, you're not really honest. And same with events, you're always like smiling at everybody, you're giving interviews and everything, but you're just like waiting for it to get over, or like there's always this time slot. These actors will come. My PR team were really sweet to take care of me, who will like acha Abhishek yahan baith jao, and then half an hour आधे घंटे में निकल जाओ. All this is like a very uh, uh, busy time when you're going for these special events. So I mean, shooting is relaxed, because you have 12 hours, you go, you do your
Yeah.
makeup, you have your own time, you can read your scenes and then perform. That's easy. But to do all this, and then your heartbeat is like, you don't know where you're going to uh, mess up something, like, on stage. Do you
Say
want to like
something wrong or
say something wrong?
inappropriate.
Exactly. There can be so many things which can go wrong, and I'm very jealous of actors who are good at it, because I see some of them like just killing it, just nailing it, and I'm like, "Arey yaar, ye main kab sekhunga? Like, when will I do it?" But I think I manage. I've started to manage it pretty well, and I'm learning this. Someone told me that this is a show business, so no matter how good you are, you need to always show yourself. So I'm learning that, trying that.
Yeah, you've got to show up and you've got to show.
Yeah.
How are your friendships in the industry, Abhishek? Some of the ones from Delhi, have you carried them along with you? Have you made new ones? How important is it to have that ecosystem of good people around you?
Yes, I have many friends from my theater days, and thankfully they're also doing pretty well. Divendu is one of my very old friends. He stays in my building, so like we're always hanging together whenever we're working. His wife and him, me, we all come from the same college, Theatre Society players. Then there is Shubham,
Kirori
Prateek,
Mal, right?
Kirori Mal College, yes, yes. Then there is Shubham and Prateek, who made Ibaleu
Ah,
now,
yes, yes.
and Shubham is also in Stolen. So, that's the kind of camaraderie I have with my friends. And in the industry, I have Rajkumar Rao, I have Apar Shakti, Amar Kaushik, of course, he's like an elder brother. And many others, like, Varun is also a kind of a friend. So I have a small friendship going on with many of them, but everybody is busy. So not that we're meeting every day and, having
Yeah,
conversations, but whenever we meet, we always have, I always like to have this conversation.
right. So, you're looking forward to interesting roles in these franchises, and apart from that, Abhishek, what else is happening in the in your movies?
I think I'm very excited about Veda, because I think I really wanted to work with Nikhil Advani. It's a long time, and he was one of the few directors I always liked. I'll always like watching his films, whether it was Kal Ho Na Ho or D Day. D Day was very like a really cool film,
Wonderful, yeah.
and I was like,
But
okay,
Kal Ho
thank
Na
you.
Ho is also a lovely film. It's so
It
beautiful,
was
yeah. And
exactly,
he's a great
exactly.
guy also.
Yes, yes. I would call him a passionate cinema lover.
Yeah,
You know, that's what you want in a director. For me, directors are like DJs. Like, in party you go and you want to listen to a particular DJ and want to dance on their tunes. So for me, Nikhil sir is one of those few directors who really enjoys his work, and he's so hardworking that the it just comes automatically. Like you just want to like perform for him, or perform for his world. And yeah, I mean, so Veda is quite interesting. It's a first for me, a first theatrical villain part with John Abraham, Sharwari. They're all great in the film, and I'm really excited about that. And hopefully, Section 84. I don't know the release date of that film, but that's the film with Mr. Bachchan,
Mr.
Rigudas
Bachchan.
Gupta. Yes, yes, I'm very excited about that. I had some great scenes with him. I just want to see myself. I really don't care about the results and what's going to happen, but I just want to see myself with him, big silhouette thing. And of course, 3-2, 3-2 is quite exciting, and hoping that it does the same kind of business, and it gets the same kind of love from the audience as the first one.
It's again shot in MP. 3 was also shot in MP. Okay.
Same, we shot in the same location, maybe, with a very different demon this time.
What was it? Obviously, everyone must have asked you this, but what was it like acting with Mr. Bachchan? It is quite something even to meet him, for the first time.
Yes. In fact, I'm a very big admirer of him, and I think I joined Kirori Mal College because it was Mr. Bachchan's college.
Because oh yeah,
So
he's an
so,
alumnus.
yes. So it was, and I always told myself that I don't want to meet him and tell him that, sir, I'm your fan.
Yeah.
That I'm sure that वो लोग बहुत लोग करते होंगे, but I really wanted to work with him. And I was dreaming about the day when I would actually be on set with him and shake hands, and that day came, and he was very surprised and was very happy that I'm from the same college and same theater group. So, and though he's so like a senior actor, he never made me feel that he's Amitabh Bachchan. He's always like a co-actor, and I think he has a very young vibe
Yeah.
on set, especially. He just feels like a young kid who is like right on the block and just comes back. He doesn't leave the set. He's like a teacher. Like if I have Keval Arora is the first teacher I trained under, and
Yeah.
I think since तो मैंने इतने साल से टीवी में देखा उनसे सीखा, and for me the first time I was watching him act in front of me, I was learning from him. And he has his ways to teach you, not directly but indirectly, and those lessons just by observing him, just by seeing the kind of dedication he has, the kind of compassion he has for his fellow actors and the crew,
Mhm.
and the kind of professionalism that man has. I think that
And that desire for perfection, that is what I find
yes,
amazing. If he thinks one little thing is off, he'll do it again, or he'll sleep over it. Then the next day he'll say, there was something wrong there. I want to do it again. That it's quite amazing.
man, there was this in one instance which I will never forget. I mean, he's known for coming on time. So there
Yeah.
was this one time where I was told that I have to be on location at 7 a.m. because it was Mr. Bachchan's monologue scene. And all these days, it was like him, I mean, because of the structure of the film, he was not really doing the talkie part. It was me or Nimrit who were doing the talkie parts. And he was just he was sitting as an audience and watching us. Uh, this particular day, and I knew that he's always on time. So I told myself that, okay, 7 a.m. means I have to reach at 6:55 so that I'm at least I have some time in my hand. And I did that. I reached the location. And the minute I reached, the AD knocked on my door and she said that Mr. Bachchan is waiting for you on set. I'm like, how is that possible? Why is he like earlier? And why has he come early? And isn't he supposed to do his hair and makeup? What about that? And she said, no, no, no. Actually, he has come for rehearsal. So he came to rehearse at 6:30, and he has been rehearsing with the director, with the camera, with the crew from 6:30 a.m. And they didn't want to bother me because it was his theme. So he's like, whenever Abhishek comes, just fall into the set so I can rehearse. So I went, and he was there. He was there with his lines. He was there with his camera positions. It's phenomenal to see him.
That's true.
And so many of our young contemporary actors and fellow actors have not seen that kind of passion. So and I would include myself also in that, because we take things for granted. And when you see a mega star, a star who has been like ruling hearts of rows and rows of people for so many years. If he can do that, I think we all need to be really, like, on top of our game.
On that point, Abhishek, a lot of stars also don't show up for the other actor, right? If it's the other actor who is doing a monologue, sometimes they won't even bother to turn up, right?
Hmm. That's a very big one. Of
It's a problem.
course it is. Not that I've seen that many times, but yes, I've seen certain times where actors would do that. And I think that's a big one. I mean, you need to really respect the co-actors. You need to respect the scene. This is something which Rajkumar does a lot. He would stand and give cues even to the featured cast, where he doesn't need to stand, where he doesn't need to be there out in the hot sun, giving cues to featured cast like the ones who we call extras. So that kind of dedication is needed. Whether it I sometimes feel that the scene you have a subka. It is not
Exactly.
only your scene or somebody else. It's the you have to cooperate with everybody to make that one good scene. So an actor really needs to have that enthusiasm. Otherwise, what's the point?
On that note, Abhishek, thank you so much for this conversation and I wish you all the best. It's nice to see you doing so well and great. Good to talk to you.
Amen. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.